sir?
Yes.
Okay, sir. Okay, thank you. Okay, let me take the opportunity to introduce our first expert faculty. Dr. S.K. Singhal is currently working with IIT Roorkee, a premier institute of India. He is currently having a position of head. He is a professor and head of the Department of Hydro and Renewable Energy. He is having more than 35 years of experience, and during this experience, entire service life, he served on many positions, starting from assistant professor, scientist, principal scientific officer, and tremendous contribution have been done to the academic field. He supervised more than 10 PhD students, currently more than 90 MTech theses also. He has research publication about 93 in reputed journals, and more than 127 conferences and the national and international conferences he carried out. He has more than 16 books and books chapters, and he designed so many guidelines related to the small hydropowers. He coordinated near about 71 faculty development courses and also delivered more than 200 expert talks. That's tremendous. He also received awards from some international body and the national body. He also involved himself in many international projects carried out in the Canada and other countries also. So with this, it's a huge biodata, but really, we are having a good speakers, very eminent personality. So I heartily welcome Dr. S.K. Singhal, sir, and let me hand over the session to you. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Alpesh Patel.
Thank you
for initiating this faculty development program. And now let me just brief about this department in 2 minutes, and then I'll start the lecture. Our department, Department of Hydro and Renewable Energy, was established in the year 1982 with the name Alternate Hydro Energy Center. That time, all such renewable energies and non-conventional energy, they need to called by the name alternate sources of energy or non-conventional energy sources. Now in the present scenario, the renewable energy has a tremendous score in the total energy, and there are no more non-conventional energy or alternate sources of energy, but they also have a good contribution as sources of energy. We started 2 master's program in alternate hydro systems and environmental management of river and lakes. And currently we are guiding more than 50 students as research scholars for PhD. And presently we have 11 faculty in the department working in different fields of renewable energy and environmental aspects. Some of the unique facility with our department has is the hydro simulator, where the operation and maintenance people can take training, and a world-class turbine testing laboratory, where all sort of turbine models can be tested. And it has been accredited by NABL. All others are unique laboratories. So with this background, let me share and start the presentation. My screen is visible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, it is clearly visible.
So the topic is given as the assessment and planning of small hydropower. As we all know, energy has its important role in development of any society, any region or the country. Like the present interaction program, which we are conducting virtually, and the people are connected from different places. It cannot be think of without electricity. So for trade and commerce, manufacturing, production, transportation sector, agriculture, domestic needs, service sector, for all, the electricity or energy in different forms is must. Even there is a revolution coming in transportation sector with electric vehicles. Presently, 60–70% energy comes from the conventional sources of energy, which we call the thermal, hydropower, and nuclear. But there is an associated problem with these sources, like in thermal sources, the fuel is limited. It is not in abundance. So it has to deplete someday. Then hydropower. Hydropower means where we have high dams and large reservoirs. They have the problem of rehabilitation and resettlement, which you people might have experienced when this Sardar Sarovar Dam was constructed. And in the present time, constructing such kind of dams and reservoirs are becoming very difficult because environmentalists are very active. Nuclear sources, they also have the problem related with safety and security. If proper precaution is not taken, then there are emissions which are harmful for the human body. And also the fuel used for nuclear power plants, it is also not available in abundance, and its security is another problem, as this fuel can also be used for making the devastating nuclear bombs. So considering these issues, the focus is now shifting towards solar energy, which is available in abundance all over the world, wind energy, biomass, small hydropower, geothermal. Geothermal and tidal has very limited small scope, but small hydro, biomass, wind and solar, they have a large scope. And development work is going on and more has to do for development of such sources. If you see the current scenario, as I said, the thermal sources has their contribution substantially. Hydro means large hydro. It has contribution about 12%. Nuclear, of course, has very less contribution. And renewable sources has increased to 26% now, which has to increase more. Till 1990, all the power development was in the government sector, mostly by the electricity boards in different states, or some development in public sector. From 91, major reforms came in electricity sector. All the boards were unbundled and private sector was allowed to develop. And in last 30 years, their share has reached to the level of 48%. If you see the renewable energy status, Solar and wind, they have the maximum contribution of the order of 40,000 megawatt, and the potential is more than 1 lakh megawatt. The small hydropower potential, although it was as at 19,900, but it was revised and it is around 25,000 megawatt. But we could harness around 5,000 megawatt, so we have to go a long way. Biomass potential is around 18,000 and 10,000 has been harnessed. And there are some small contribution by waste to power. So still we have to develop more in renewable energy sector. If you see the opportunity in hydropower, and the maximum potential is in the Himalayan states. The maximum potential is in Arunachal, but the development is less than 2%. So more than 98% is still remaining. Himachal Pradesh is the leading state in development of hydropower, but there also the vast potential is still remaining to be tapped. Now, if you see the basics of hydropower, when the water falls from the height, it may be from the intake of a dam or from a forebay, and this water falls on the turbine. So by rotating the turbine blades, it converts the potential and kinetic energy of the flowing water into mechanical power, and turbine is coupled with the generator to convert this power into electric power, which is transmitted to the transmission and distribution system. The basic equation is 9.81, which is acceleration due to gravity, multiplied by the discharge in meter cube per second, multiplied by the head, the height from which the water is falling, and multiplied by the efficiency of the machines. There are three machines: turbine, generator, and gearbox. And combined efficiency is around 75 to 80%. Turbine efficiency may be 88 to 94%, or even maybe 96%. Generator efficiency 96 to 98%. Gearbox efficiency 98% or even 99%. So if multiply all three efficiencies, it could be 75 to 80%. In some cases, the speed of turbine and generator are the same, then we don't need gearbox. Now I come to the classification of hydropower. The classification can be in many ways: large, medium, small, mini, micro, pico. Broadly, it is defined as large and small. And the definition of large and small is not universal. It ranges from 3 megawatt to 50 megawatt. In India, the range of small hydro is 25 megawatt. Means any project up to 25 megawatt is small and more than 25 is large. In some countries like Sweden, this definition is up to 3 megawatt, and above 3 megawatt they call it large. In China, this range is 50 megawatt. So up to 50 megawatt they call it small, and more than 50 they call large. Then pico hydro, the small projects, or maybe the water mill garage, which we popularly call, is up to 5 kilowatt. Micro is up to 100 kilowatt. Mini range is up to 2 megawatt. And small, of course, 25 as I told. Then medium could be 100 megawatt, and more than 100 megawatt it is large. Then another classification is by head. Low head, medium head, high head. This definition is also not universal, and in different texts you will find different definitions. Like low head range is 20 meter to 40 meters. Some references will give it 20 meter, some may give 30, some may give 40. Similarly, medium range is 20 meter to 60 meter. And above 60 meter it is high head. The purpose of the definition is the range of different type of turbines which work in different head conditions. Then classification by purpose. It is single purpose or multi-purpose. Single purpose means a station for generating power only. And multi-purpose means it is providing water for drinking, for industrial use, for agriculture, for flood control. So then it becomes a multi-purpose project. Then by storage capacity, run of river, pond, seasonal, multi-year. Run of river means whatever the water is flowing in a river or a stream, the same is utilized for power generation by diverting it without any storage. In fact, in small hydro, storage is not envisaged. So it is not a dam-based. Pond means we store the water for some hours and utilize it for some hours, and it is filled up and emptied same day. And it is required because for generating power, the turbines are designed for certain discharge. And discharge varies in the river. During lean season, it becomes very low. If we store it for a few hours and leave it for a lesser time, the discharge will increase and we will be able to run the machine. Then the seasonal storage means we store the water during rainy season and use it off rainy season. Then multi-year storage means the water is stored in a dam for more than 1 year. And reservoir is very large in this case, and dams are not filled in 1 year. Then classification by function means the station is for generation, power generation, pumping where we pump the water from lower level to high level for storage purpose, and reversible. Reversible means the machine is there which can run for power generation as well as for pumping of the water. Then by service type means the power station runs to meet the base load requirement, which runs continuously, or it is for peaking or intermittent supply. Intermittent means the power demand is not same throughout the day. Sometimes it is less, sometimes it is more. So the stations which run continuously, they are to meet base load, and the power stations which are required to run to meet the fluctuations, they are intermittent or peaking supply station which are run in the morning and evening, which are called peak hours. Then by system design means the powerhouse is in standalone, which is not grid connected, or it is in cascading where a number of stations are there and which are interconnected. Then by type of scheme, runoff river, dam based, canal based and pump storage, which I'll discuss subsequently. The runoff river scheme are those where we don't need any storage. Output is subject to instantaneous flow of water and reliability of discharge and general conditions should be ensured. In our rivers, some are perennial, mostly in Himalayan region where water flows round the year. Some are non-perennial where water is available during rainy season only. So whatever the water is flowing in the river, if we divert it by constructing a barrier across the river, which we call the diversion barrier, this water is diverted through a canal and then it is taken to a storage tank which we call the forebay, which stores the water for a few minutes. Then it is discharged under pressure through a pipe which we call the penstock and it reaches to the turbine to generate power. So these are the components of hydropower scheme, and in run-of-river scheme, no storage is done. In case the water is very less in lean season, then this forebay can be enlarged, which we call the balancing reservoir, where water can be stored for few hours to run the machines in lean season. Then canal-based schemes. In India, we have large network of canals. In Gujarat also you have number of canals like Saurashtra branch canal, Kutch branch canal, Miyagam branch canal, which takes off from Sardar Sarovar Dam to supply the water to the tail end. And if you have seen the canals, along the canal, there are falls to match the canal level with the surrounding topography. These canal falls become the potential source of power generation. If you have seen the Saurashtra branch canal, in the first 35 kilometers of this Saurashtra branch canal, there is a depression in the area. So there are 3 falls where 1820 megawatt power can be generated on each fall. And after that, there is a rise to take the water up to the tail end. And here large pumping stations are constructed to lift the water. Then comes the dam-based schemes. Normally in small hydropower, dams are not envisaged, but wherever dams are constructed, the water can be released from the dam through a penstock, power is generated and then it is taken for the purpose for which it was stored. In Gujarat, Madhya Pradesh, in southern region of the country, there are a number of such small height dams which can be used for power generation. Then comes the pump storage. In pump storage, there are 2 reservoirs, one at lower level, another at higher level. When water released from upper reservoir, we generate power. And when we fill the upper reservoir by using the water of lower reservoir, we pump the water by consuming electricity. In such cases, we are not storing the water in the upper reservoir, but we are storing the electricity, as it can be generated anytime if our upper reservoir is filled up. Mostly, such schemes are beneficial for intermittent supply to meet the peaking demand, also to augment the uncertainty involved in solar and wind energy generating stations. Because if we have good sunshine, more generation is from the solar, suddenly there are cloud, so that generation will drop. So that has to be augmented by some reliable sources which can be started immediately. And that could be reservoir-based hydropower stations. Now, such schemes can be installed at the hilltop for upper reservoir, and lower reservoir may be in a watercourse or a lake, or it may be in old abundant mines where sufficient area is available, and at the upper level we have some water source. Now we come to the resource assessment for hydropower. Resource assessment means we have to assess all the possible sites where power can be developed. Then the priority or a ranking can be given based on the cost, based on the capacity, based on the generation cost, based on the infrastructure and access road availability, based on the requirement in particular region. So there can be many reasons to undertake the projects in different areas, and accordingly we give them priority, and based on the resources available, we can take up them in parallel all the sites or based on the priority. And in the area where we need to develop such power stations, the strengthening of grid network is also equally important, because power, once it is developed, it needs to be evacuated for the purpose. Normally, in many areas, such scientific or systematic attempts may not be made to assess the full potential for SHP development. Now, integration of other development, because hydropower, we are using the water body for power development. So the water can also be used for drinking, for irrigation, for industry. If we club together, there can be a cost sharing, and it can be a cost effective arrangement. Now the other issues like grid installation means once the power station is complete, the grid line should be available. Availability, arrangement of finances. Energy wheeling. Energy wheeling means if the energy cannot be used in that area, it needs to be transported through transmission line to other areas. Institutional aspects. The development of the institutions which can generate, transmit, and distribute the power to look after this. That also has to be seen. And if required, new institution can be developed. Also, the development of human resources. The manpower who has the expertise in the planning, in the construction, and the operation and maintenance of such development. The first attempt for the potential assessment was made in 1997 by CA, and that time they assessed 15 megawatt as the potential, 6,700 megawatt as the potential, and that time in India the small hydro definition was up to 15 megawatt. Then in 2003, the assessment was made by our department with the support from Power Finance Corporation, and we estimated around 4,000 sites with cumulative potential of 8,337 megawatt. It was also up to 15 megawatt. Then the mandate of small hydro was increased to 25 megawatt, and again with the support of Ministry of New and Renewable Energy, the assessment was made 16,000 megawatt up to 25 megawatt. And after this, no systematic assessment was made, but based on the information gathered, it was assessed as 25,000 megawatt and total hydropower potential as 1,50,000 megawatt. Now, as I discussed, mostly when it comes to the hydropower, immediately we think of high dam and large reservoir. So these are basically the storage projects. Then run-of-river projects where we use the instantaneous flow of water. Then existing irrigation dams, barrages, navigation locks, canal falls, which are used to supply water for irrigation and other uses, and the fall available is used for power generation. By the way, navigation locks, I don't know, many of you might be knowing or not. Earlier, maybe 30-40 years back, the canals, many canals were used for transportation of goods when the good road network was not available. And these canals have the falls. So at every fall, the gates were provided so that the transportation can be facilitated from upstream to downstream and downstream to upstream. That's why we call it navigation locks. Now these are no more used, so it can be used for power generation. Apart from them, there are also other opportunities where small scale plants can be developed, like residual potential in pipelines for drinking and industrial use. From the water body, we take the water, treat this water and take for drinking and other uses. And it has sufficient head or pressure so that it can reach to the tail end where we want to have it. Now, if the supply system has more pressure than required, this additional pressure can be used for power generation. Or from the source to the treatment plant, in between if we have the head, that can be used for power generation because there is a continuous water supply and head. Effluent outfall at water treatment plants and sewage treatment plants. In sewage treatment plant also, we take the raw sewage, treat it, and then it is disposed of in the nearby water body. In water treatment plant from the industry or other places, we take the raw water, treat it, and then it is disposed of in water bodies. So at the disposal point, normally there is a head that may be 1 to 2 meter, 3 meter, 4 meter, but that can be used for power generation. Hydrokinetics in flowing channels. Now in our rivers, in canal, water flows with certain velocity. So that velocity head, without any head, can be used to run the hydrokinetic turbines. It's a new development and research work is going on, but that can be used for power generation. A small scale pump storage plant to reduce diesel consumption for peak hours and load scheduling. In Gujarat, some of the remote areas, maybe on the border side where military establishments are there, in Andaman Nicobar, in border areas of Arunachal Pradesh, Ladakh, where the sufficient grid power is not available or grid lines are not available, to have a reliable power, still diesel generating sets are used, which are very, very costly, and also they put harm to the environment. That can be easily replaced by biomass, small hydro, solar, wind, depending on the availability of the potential. Pump storage does not mean that we have a large size reservoirs with high heads. It can be with low heads and a small scale size, which can supply small power, and it can replace totally or reduce the consumption from diesel generating sets. So in the potential assessment, we have to get the information on all sort of technical feasible sites where power can be generated. After getting some information, then further investigations are made. Of course, it requires a high level of experience and expertise. Some computer-based studies, some softwares are available, are used for initial resource assessment, and after that, the ground truthing is required. Ground verification is very important for assessment of the site and having the confidence in whatever we have studied. For such assessment, the geographical information system, which is software based, is very much useful, where we can make the digital elevation model, we can give the different layers on the map for different themes, and we can assess the potential. And it can be a good database for further investigation to assess the hydropower potential. So here the published topographic maps which are available from Survey of India, discharge records which can be had from the irrigation departments, water resources departments, the Central Water Commission. Some field measurements can be done, and by using the conventional software, the GIS interface, and we can find out what kind of discharge and heads may be available and what could be the potential of a particular site. Like if you see here, this is a topographic map of an area. These blue lines, or rather green lines, they show the perennial water streams. The black lines, they show the non-perennial streams. And at any point where we want to know the discharge, this dark black line shows the catchment area. Means this area contribute runoff to this point. And based on the meteorological data like temperature, rainfall, we can assess the discharge at any point. A study was carried out for 13 hilly states where discharge data of 102 catchments were collected, and based on this gauge data, the fluidation curve were developed for ungauged streams where discharge data were not available by hydrological sensitization. And for each such ungauged catchment, the power potential was calculated for 50%, 75% and 90% dependable flows. 50% dependable flow means the water which is available 50% of the time or more in a year. 75% means the water available 75% of the time in a year. And 90% dependable means 90% time in a year. So this gives more reliability. Now it depends on us for our development what kind of dependability we choose. Now the factors for consideration in planning. When we make the resource assessment and we go for the development, it can be steep slopes of the river. Like in the river, there may be rapids and waterfalls, steep slopes mostly in hilly areas. So in a short distance of the river, we may find high head. Narrow valley means the area where width of river is narrow. Here the length of construction of the diversion weir will be small. Major river bends. Now river bend means, if I show you how to use river bends. Yes. You might have seen in the rivers there may be some small, mild or steep bends. Now, if I take this bend, we divert the water from here and take to this point. So, the slope of the river in all this length will be negotiated in this small reach. So, if you divert the water by having a diversion weir here, divert the water and meet it here, the head will be available here, which can be used for power generation. So these major bands can be used for power generation. Then the canal falls and outfalls, as I discussed, barrages, weirs, navigation locks, existing dam outlets and spillways. Also the cooling water return channels. If you have seen the thermal power station, In each thermal power station, lot of water is required for cooling of the condenser. So water is brought from a water body or a canal or a river, and it is pumped to reach to the condenser, and after cooling of the condenser, it returns back to the water source. When it returns back, it has the head difference. And thermal power station, the load factor is more than 90%. They run continuously. So there is a continuous flow of water for cooling and return channel. Head is there. It can be used for power generation. For assessment of the discharge, as I said, the meteorological data such as temperature, wind velocity, rainfall, along with the catchment area, can be used to assess the high flood water level in the river and the discharge in different seasons. The geology of the area, the foundation conditions and slope stability. These are also very important to know for stability of the structure where we plan to construct a project. Condition of main road to the area, weight and width limitation on bridges and on the road. Like in some area we plan, the powerhouse can be planned where the water source is available, where head is available. It may be a remote area. Maybe the road is not available or road conditions are not good. So they cannot allow for a particular size and weight carrying capacity of the vehicle. The bridges on such roads also have a limitation in terms of size of vehicle and the weight. So these are also prevailing conditions which can limit us for the capacity and size of the machines, or we have to invest for improving the road condition. So access to the site and space for structures and site roads. The different structures which are to be constructed, proper location of the site. Availability of the construction materials. The lot of materials like sand, aggregates are required. Steel, cement. From where they will be available? Some locally available material may be cheaper. Local manpower, skilled and unskilled. Power evacuation is also important, whether the distribution lines or transmission lines are available in the area or they need to be augmented for power evacuation or distribution in that area. These also have to be seen and improvement has to be made side by side as we plan and construct the scheme, so that by the time the scheme is ready, the power evacuation arrangement is also ready. So for planning the data collection, first on topography, on hydrology, geology, power requirement, infrastructure facilities are to be made, the available maps are studied, and once we find a suitable location, then field visits are made to have confidence, to strengthen our study and finally select the suitable site. Then mapping and geotechnical investigations are made for design of the foundation. And based on that, the conceptual design is made. There may be various alternatives and the optimum layout is selected. Then report of preliminary studies are made, which we call the pre-feasibility report. Now there may be various options here we have a water course and a power station is constructed here, and side by side the spillway is constructed, and the fish ladder is also constructed for free movement of the fishes from downstream to upstream and upstream to downstream, so that there is no environmental issues. There may be a navigation lock that can also be used side by side for power generation. Here also we have a water course. The weir is constructed here and the power station is constructed here. So this way many developments can be done in many ways depending on the site conditions. Here a weir or barrage is constructed to divert the water. Then water is taken through a upper channel or maybe a low pressure pipe. It leads water to the forebay, and from forebay to penstock powerhouse it is taken by a pressurized pipe which we call the penstock, and after generation the water is left to the river. Here a surge tank is also provided, which is normally mandatory in case of high head schemes, because when the water flows towards the powerhouse and suddenly the powerhouse need to be closed by any chance, so water will rush up towards upstream, and also it is flowing from the weir, so lot of pressure is exerted here on the penstock, and this pressure, which we call the water hammer, it need to be released at the earliest. So it is released through a open pipe which we call the surge tank or a surge shaft. Silt excluder is provided here to remove the silt from the flowing water. Here a surge tank is there and an air relief valve is also provided here. The purpose is also to relieve the air pressure. Actually it is related with this inverted siphon because there is a depression, so it works as a siphon, and if air entered here, to break that air or to inflow the air for stopping the flow, this air relief valve is provided here. So different kind of arrangements may be made as per the requirement. Here you can see the layout where we have the headworks. The water is diverted here through a canal. Now when it comes here, the water course on this bank is not possible. It may be some ridges here or topographic is such that construction is not possible. Then it has to cross the river, have the canal, again bridging is done. So such kind of layout may be made where the site is not feasible throughout on the same bank. Although technically it may be feasible, but economically it may be costlier because it has a long water conductor system and also several bridging is required, which also have a large cost. Now, such conditions may prevail in hilly areas where we take the water and there is a hillock. So if we take the water conductor system around the hillock, the length will be very large. Large length means more cost. And also Head loss is there due to level difference. So to cut down that, we can puncture the hillock by constructing a tunnel. So water can be transported through the tunnel. So this water course will be small, head loss will be less, and in the long run there may be economy if we compare the initial and maintenance cost of the tunnel vis-a-vis the cost of the channel. Now there can be typical runoff river schemes with tunnel. Tunnel, as I discussed, has to be constructed where we have to negotiate a hillock across the layout. Now here also you can find the layout. Here we have the powerhouse and here is the diversion weir. So water is diverted from this weir. This is the river. Then there is a feeder channel. A desilting tank is there to remove the silt. Again, power channel is there, and then a tunnel is constructed, and the water leads to the powerhouse. Here also you can see, although it is not clearly visible, here we have the powerhouse, and here also a tunnel is constructed. Now there can be different layouts with different type of turbines. Other experts, they will discuss about the type of turbines, and mostly the turbines, they are divided as the low head turbines, medium head and high head turbines. Under low head turbines, there are a number of turbines which may have a vertical setting, which may have a horizontal setting. There is a bulb turbine which has a straight flow. There may be S-type tubular turbine. So depending on the different sites, different turbines can be compared and we can select the optimum layout. Then cascade development with storage and without storage, that we call the runoff river. Cascade development means along a long river, we have selected several sites. And here at each location, a dam is constructed because of maybe the mild slope in the river. And from the dam, water is diverted for power generation, and again it meets with the river. Or here, a dam is constructed, then at another station, it's only the diversion, or maybe the tail race of upstream station is used as the intake for downstream. So depending on the site conditions, such layouts can be planned. Then using the large bands, as I discussed earlier, along a river course, we can have a diversion weir or a barrage, have the power stations. Again, we can have a power station. Again, we have a power station. So to tap the potential along the whole river, we can have number of power stations which may be connected with each other or may be independent to each other. Now, here also you can see the different alternatives for canal-based scheme. Mostly what we do, there is a fall, a diversion canal is constructed where we have a power station, and after generating power, it meets with the main canal. The main canal fall may be used as a spillway, so that once the powerhouse is not running, the water may flow through the fall. Now, along the canals, there may be a number of falls in the vicinity. So one way is we divert and we construct separate powerhouse at each fall. If the falls are close by, maybe within 1 kilometer, 2 kilometer, or say in 4 or 5 kilometers, number of falls are there. All the falls can be clubbed by diverting water from the upstream, which meets at the downstream of the lower falls. So in this case, all three falls are clubbed. Clubbing of fall means we have the more head and a single powerhouse can be constructed here. Here from the main canal, the water is diverted, the powerhouse is constructed, and water is taken in a branch canal rather than in the main canal if we need to divert this water. So such arrangement is also possible. Now, this shows a typical canal intake with powerhouse building. Like here, from the canal, the water is diverted and there is a vertical turbine, and after generation, the water goes in the tail race, and here the powerhouse building is constructed. Here, the turbine works with a siphon intake. So in this case, the setting is at a higher level, so the cost is reduced. Here also the powerhouse is planned. The normal way is we take the penstock through the body of the dam and construct the powerhouse. But here whatever is done, sorry, I had to plug the power supply. Now, in some cases, the dam authorities do not allow puncturing of the dam to lay the penstock, maybe due to stability of the dam, or it may be earthen or old dam. So in this case, the water is taken at the top of the dam, and by siphon action, it reaches to the powerhouse. There may be cases where we have the old power stations which has lived its life or some renovation is required. So instead of strengthening the existing system, a new system can be constructed and a new powerhouse can be installed. Or if we find that the more potential is available, in addition to renovation of the existing power station, we can add a new power station. So by having the experience of running for so many years of the existing power station, when we need to renovate it, then we need to plan in addition or in its replacement, or it can be renovated here. Now, one thing more, the usual life of a hydropower station is considered 40 years. Earlier it was thought 35 years. After 20-25 years, major renovation may be required. By having the experience of 20-30 years, if you find that good efficiency machines are available, potential is more than what we are generating, then we can think of addition of new machines or replacement of the old machines, because renovating a power plant requires less investment, and in short period of time we can add to the capacity rather than installing a totally new power station. And when we assess the potential, it has to be assessed along a river. And first table study is carried out where we can find the suitable location, which can be runoff river, which can be storage based, and depending on the discharge and head conditions, we can find the potential. Then we go for ground truthing and confirm the potential. In one such study, on a map of certain area, the dots shows the possible potential sites. Then on this map in GIS platform, we can lay different layers, like a layer having the transmission network. Now transmission network may be of different capacity, like 33 kV, 132 kV, 400 kV, like this. So we have to see what kind of transmission line we need depending on the capacity of our power station, how much distance is there, and in that distance a short transmission line is required, or we need a strengthening of the existing transmission line. Also, we can lay the layer of road network. So the layer of the drainage system, the rivers and the canals. So different layers can be laid, and a comprehensive planning can be made for a comprehensive development. Like here you can see a river with a mild slope, and here you see the river having a fall. So in this case, we need a short water conductor system to utilize this fall. While in this case, we need to have a storage structure and then take the water for power generation. So this is all which I want to speak, and now I invite questions.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. Now the session is open for the question answer. All the participants are requested to raise your question if you have any. Just wait, I am allowing all the participants to unmute your mic. Okay, now you can raise.
For water kinetics operated hydropower plant, there is no need to construct the power plant in hilly region. It can be constructed in the plains also, is it?
Anywhere in hill as well as plain, where we have in plain areas, like Gujarat, most of the area is plain, although hilly area is also there. And normally in canals, wherever the fall is there, or in river also, if some slope is there, it can be utilized for power generation. And even the velocity can be used in hydrokinetic system.
Okay, next question, please, from the participants. Question from the participants, anyone, please?
First, you have to unmute your mic, all the participants, then you can ask the question.
The rights are allotted to all the participants to unmute your mic, as well as you can also make your camera now on. You have to unmute and then say, please. Yes, Lokesh Raju, sir. Mr. Lokesh Raju, Vyas Raju, yes. Do you have any question? Please raise it right now.
Sir, I have small doubt, sir.
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
Sir, can you tell me any real-time application?
Real-time?
Application? Renewable energy?
No, real-time application means what?
In terms of, I mean, either using water or due to using waterfalls, or there are some plants are there.
Yeah, many plants are there. So but basically the question is, see, there are many plants, solar, wind, small hydro, and they are generating power, so they are all real time. In fact, in our department, we have installed a real-time simulator also.
Okay.
And that simulator is a replica of two power stations, the low head and medium head. And the purpose is, for training purpose, in the power station, there are many problems when shutdown has to be done. So what sort of these problems are there, and how quickly we can outcome from these problems. So that training is imparted in our department on the real-time digital simulator.
Okay, sir.
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
There is a controversy of ecology destruction in case of construction of hydropower plant in the hilly region.
See, it is not due to the hydropower station. Even if we construct any road in the hilly region, that will also have some destruction to the hills and the plantation there. So why we should blame the small hydropower? It means we should not have any development in the hilly region. The only thing is, if we find that construction has some impact on the ecology, to mitigate that impact, we should have more plantation and ecological balance should be maintained. So such mitigation measures should be done. Otherwise, the development cannot take place. But if proper mitigation or measures are taken, then there is no harm to the ecology in the area. Even if we divert whole water from a river, that will also affect the life in the water. So for that purpose, some minimum water should be left in the river, so that, which you call the environmental flow, so that life is in the water is not affected. So wherever you find that some adverse effect may be there to the ecology and environment, suitable measures should be taken for mitigation of these adverse impact, so that both the things can go side by side.
Okay.
Sir, namaskar.
Yes, next,
I-
next
yeah,
question.
yeah. I'm Dr. Sardar Patil, belongs to Konkan region of Maharashtra. Basically, I'm not from the engineering background. I'm from the geographic background. My question is, in the Sahyadri region, there are ample waterfalls are there, but most of the waterfalls are seasonal in nature.
Okay.
Does it will be economical to initiate the project of hydroelectricity on such waterfalls?
Yes, because the tariff of the electricity in Maharashtra and this region is very high. It may be 7-8 rupees per unit. So that's why if we incur more cost and even if tariff is high, still it will be beneficial. Because in the waterfalls we have the high heads and cost of the structures and equipment is relatively small.
Okay,
So
sir. Thank you.
no issue. See,
Okay.
in most of the southern and central region, the water is mostly available in rainy season. So we cannot use them round the year. Round the year, it can be used if we have proper storage.
Sir, I have one more question. Suppose we want to utilize the coastal water that constructing the barriers, we may say it is a tidal hydropower project. What will be the should be the minimum height to generate the electricity from the water?
Actually, from economy point of view, the minimum head should be 3 meters or more. And in sea-water, it's a salty water,
Yeah.
and it's more corrosive.
Yeah.
For this, special equipments are manufactured. Their
Okay.
cost may be 30-40% more.
Okay.
Even we have carried out one study on the border area of Goa and Maharashtra,
Okay.
where many resorts are constructed.
Okay.
But these resorts are just on the bank of some sea estuary.
Okay.
And in that case, the water can be lifted from the sea, stored in a tank at the top. In the daytime or any time when the sun and wind is available, that source can be used for pumping. And whatever water is stored, that can be used for power generation by hydro system. And still that is economical.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Sir, how many number of poles in hydro alternator?
How many number of
Poles.
poles
Yes.
in generator?
Yes, sir.
Dr. Alpesh, can you respond?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Actually, it is a hydro alternator is different from the steam alternator. So salient pole alternate generator is used there. So you should study about the salient pole generator. It is having a multiple poles that is available on the outer face.
Okay.
I hope it is clear. It is not like a double pole generator which we are using in a steam power station.
Yeah, that's right. But actually, the speed is from the 50 RPM to 1000 RPM. So according to NS equal to 120 F by P, we can calculate.
Yes, of course you can calculate. Why not?
Yeah. So speed 52, minimum 52, maximum 1000 RPM. It's okay.
It is not necessary that we raise from 50 to 1000.
Okay.
Generator can be for a 750 or even a 500 RPM also.
Yeah, that's right. But in some books are mentioned that mini hydro having the minimum speed is 50 RPM.
Actually,
Yeah, that is about micro generation, I think. Pico generation, you are talking about the micro and pico generators. So in that case, that is possible 50 RPM. So that
Okay.
is just a starting range.
Okay.
actually
any
in
other
low
question?
head
Yes.
turbine, the
Low
speed
head,
is
yes,
low.
yes, okay.
Then gearbox is then what is it? Gearbox is provided to enhance the speed.
Yes, any other questions?
Good morning, sir. Good morning, sir. Myself, Dr. Kunal Bhatt, and it is a privilege to see you and such a platform and attending a valuable session from you. Thank you so much, sir, for this valuable session. Sir, I would like to ask that in the reversible technology, when we are initially operating on a generating mode and then after in pumping mode, if we take back our reservoir, because in Gujarat, we have a scarcity of water. So hydro is quite feasible if it is operating in reservoir reverse mode. That initially we will, during the peak load time, we will operate in the generating mode, and afterwards we will operate in a pumping mode to get it back to the reservoir. So is there any technology which is a standalone kind of or state of art, which is right now developing? Because previously it is found that the efficiency loss is much larger because we have to operate the motor and pump and everything. So that will also conduct a loss of power. So in any kind of updates which that is what I like to collect from you.
See, in the generation mode, turbine and generators
Yes, sir.
that has certain efficiency. When
Yes.
it works in a pumping mode, then also it has certain efficiency.
Exactly, sir. True.
And with the time, the efficiency is being improved.
Okay.
And when we talk for a pump storage system where we are storing the water,
Okay.
this is not a normal thing. It is an emergency,
Okay. Okay, sir.
right? When you go to a normal doctor, you give a normal fees for your
Okay.
treatment.
Exactly,
But
sir.
if there is any emergency and it is taken to ICU or anything, do you think about any economy?
Basically, sir, right now a sustainable technology that will be the state of art, and in that every option is going to click.
See,
So
it
in
is
that
very
regard,
good to, no, there you are right. It is very good to talk about sustainable. See, in our country, although sufficient power is being generated, but
okay.
in all the areas, still we do not get 24/7 quality power to each
Exactly.
citizen
True.
of the country.
True,
Right?
sir. True. Very true.
So my thinking is, till we get quality power to every citizen of the country, till then every source is complementary to each other and it is not cost competitive.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Once we are self-sufficient, we developed it fully, then we should think on these lines more.
Okay. Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Okay, any other question from participant? Okay, then, thank you all. I'm concluding now. Okay, I'm highly thankful to Dr. S.K. Singhal sir for sparing his sparing a time apart from his busy schedule and gave a special session about the expert talk on the assessment and planning of the small hydropower resource assessment. Okay, so thank you very much, sir. Thanks for your wonderful speech. I, on behalf of all the participants, organizing committee, I sincerely thanks to you.
Okay, thanks, Dr. Alpesh.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, now session, the first session is declared as completed. Now, please join for the second session at the allotted time, that is 1:30. Okay.
Either it will be the same link or are you going to provide
Yes,
another
same,
link?
same link will be there. Throughout the whole FDP, there is only one link. Okay.
Okay, thank you, thank you,
Okay. There is no any other link.
thank you, thank you.
Participants,
Please,
the meeting,
hello,
meeting,
hello.
Yes,
meeting
yes,
is o-
yes,
meeting is on,
Sir,
and
this is Manthan.
yes.
Sir, this is Manthan.
Okay, okay. Tell me.
Yes, it is requested to every all participant to join with their provided email ID and password through Microsoft Teams.
Yes, all participants are requested to join through allotted login credential only. Please do that so that we will be able to take your attendance. Otherwise, there may be some discrepancies created in attendance data. So please, it is a humble request.
Lots of participants right now join through as a guest. That's why.
Okay, so this
Okay,
session is
sir.
over.
In that, if name is written properly, it means that we have used our own credential, which is supplied by UNA. If it is guest is
Exactly.
not written,
Right,
then
right.
that will be done on a proper practice. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Okay, okay. Okay, thank you all.
the meeting is on, and you can stay connected. Okay, we will back. We will meet after 1 o'clock. Don't cancel meeting, AM Patel sir.